Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the canyon. Welcome back to another installation of Wheelin Wednesday. I kicked the tripod. This is an episode that, it gives me a lot to talk about, which is nice. We were just talking in the comments, a couple days ago, about axial ripsaws. And the wheels must have heard that because they picked Ironsides, who is fitted with axial ripsaws. And I don't know why, purely coincidental, I just happened to be working on rigs while simultaneously enduring these episodes where, look at that thing, unbelievable, where my body does battle with itself. And what I mean by that is I got my official diagnosis. We're just going to watch that guy roll slowly backwards here for a second. I got my official diagnosis of diverticulitis over a decade ago, so I lost the ability to eat a lot of stuff. And as I get older, the list of stuff adds on a couple more items, but I don't know this. It gets to be a surprise. So I eat something, and then essentially what diverticulitis does to you, the bacteria that is in your gastrointestinal tract, it basically, look at the rollback. Oh God. It basically thinks I'm being poisoned. So I just get to be, how is that rolling back? We'll get to that in a second. My body thinks it's being poisoned, so I get to feel nauseous for, is that got rear trim on it? So, Ironside, oh, yeah. So, I get to be nauseous for 3 or 4 days. So, who knows how long this episode will last based on that. I'm usually pretty good, just cold sweating, sitting on a bucket chair. But also, the neighbors are getting a bunch of trees trimmed. Chainsaw guy stopped a few moments ago. He will be actually in my yard, either this afternoon or tomorrow, topping that dead eucalyptus. So we were just talking about ripsaws, and I happened to be working on Ironsides. So when the wheel chose it, that wheel's so high. We're gonna get at least one roll out, and I'm trying to get up as little as possible. I'm just sitting here, cold sweating. So I was making some changes, unnecessary changes, because the little guy on the back door there, I had 3D printed that and then forgotten about it. So I found that in a bin when I was digging for something else. This thing has to have, that has to be backwards throttle trim. Do I need to recalibrate this? That's not drag brake. That thing is actually propelling itself backwards. Yeah, I thought it was just bad drag brake because, other thoughts. While I was just wrenching on it, I happened to notice I was putting stuff away and noticed that I had just a homeless castle system. Actually, 2 homeless castle systems, which I'd also just mentioned in a comment not too long ago. And I looked in here, and he's got a 1080, and I think he had one of those Power Wheels motors in him, just the silver can Johnson 550. So I was like, let's throw that thing in there. Then of course I had to hook it up to Castle Link because it's a TRX4, so it's reverse motor rotation. I'm gonna have to try to sweep this around from the other side to have any chance at making this. Yeah, when he's sitting on flat ground, it just sits there, right? But if I get into any... So I put a Castle, there's a Copperhead with a Slate 1406 2280 in there. How does this have worse drag brake than the motor from a Power Wheels? I don't understand. And of course, just recently, I put that MKS, the Noisy Boy 550. The MKS Noisy Boy 550 doesn't bother me too much because the TRX4 generally sounds like a coffee grinder. Oh, that's way too, is that too low? I feel like that's too low. I don't know. Nope, sliding. Well, we've done it again. Yeah, this is another one of those rantable moments where I feel like, how is, and this, it's just mirroring a comment that I recently made. How can a $200 Castle brushless system give me more inconsistent performance than a $50 combo of a 1080 and a $10 Power Wheels replacement motor? But that's what we've got. The low speed control feels very nice. 9-tooth pinion. There's no chance. There's no chance. Do some positioning though with a very fast servo. He does have a lot of low weight, so does have the ability to flip it over. Let me get this thing into position. Side hilling, not really the forte of any Defender. And I was just mentioning to someone quite recently that electronics aside, because RTR being ready to replace, I think he's got his diff lock servos are still the original, and then just as things started to get weird or break, like the 2-speed servo went out almost immediately. But in terms of like running gear, yeah, this rig, the gearbox has never been apart. I've never added oil to the shocks or tuned the shocks in any way. No, it's definitely just an utter lack of drag brake. Look at it rolling. And as I said, it was just hooked up to Castle Link, so everything is at maximum. 100% drag brake, max rate, everything. How is this thing not just clamped? It's gotten to the point, for me, with the performance of these Castle systems, there's 3 in service total out of 22 rigs, and I would trade all of them today for something else. I would love to, and I probably will, at some point in the future, be putting a Rhino and a long can Outrunner into the Rift crawler. I will be replacing the system that is in one of the Phoenix variants, has a Castle setup in it. I will be replacing that with a either a Fusion Pro or a Fusion SE, and I would trade this system out of this rig right now, no question to ask, for a 1200 or an 1800 SE. Does it cost? Is it worth a third the amount? $70 Fusion SE versus a $200 Copperhead plus Slate setup? Yeah, but I talk a lot about feel. I want things to feel good. I don't know. Maybe it's the rig. Is the rig too heavy? But the performance is wildly inconsistent in my hands. That rollback, and our good buddy Ironsides there has the unique, yeah, that's right, baby, TQI, the OE radio. He might be the only, no, he definitely is the only rig here that isn't on a Radio Link, a FlySky, or an Airtronics. Now, I will say this about the 2280. This is first gear on a 9-tooth pinion, so I can do this. This is pretty slow. That's an acceptable slow creep, and first gear is plenty fast for first gear. But as it's a Defender, and it has a 2-speed, it's almost that, and that's as low as we can gear it. So that amount of speed variation between the low and the high is almost perfect. I think the 1900 might be better than the 2280 in here, because take a little bit off the top speed, low that low down a little more. Let's see, forward drive is kind of his forte. I have said it in comments, I've said it in videos. I think that 4.35 size might be the perfect tire for the Portal on a TRX4, because we don't need to get our ground clearance from the tire. I don't see any need to put a 4.75 on a TRX4 with Portals, because then it's almost too high, especially if you've got a Defender body on there. We'll hit it from the backside. What can we do here? The Ripsaws are great, but last time I inspected them and took them off the rims and looked them over, they're starting to, I don't know if it's dry rot, I don't know what it is, but on the inside bead where it clamps into the bead lock, the rubber is starting to look not super happy. I have no idea. These were sent to me by a viewer and supporter, so I have no idea how old they are. Try and unlock in the front diff. Didn't help. The power of the Defender. It is a fun, I mean, it really is. I would say, I still contend, having I've got a number of rigs here. We're always building them, we're always working on them. Oh, look at that go. Defenders are just fun. And a big part of that fun is the limitation. That body is close enough as to be 1 kilogram, and that's even with the top racks removed off the top, because it's got the inner fenders. This is a 12.8-inch wheelbase. It's not a small rig, it's big. It's got a lot of stuff in it. He's got big, heavy brass portal weights at all 4 corners. He's closing in right about 9 pounds. He's a big, tanky boy. So the smaller Ripsaw helps bring that CG down, and then because the Ripsaw is smaller, someone mentioned this in a comment a while back, and I fully believe it. I don't know how to test it scientifically, but they were like, well, maybe with the smaller tire, it's a contact patch thing. Like why the Pin Seeker has such good traction for an RTR tire, because it's so skinny. I think that applies here to this guy. He can put a lot of pressure on each tire, which is going to help in things like forward drive. And he really does. Like, he can side hill better than he should be able to, but this side hill, Wheelin of Cliffhanger, is 45 degrees and up. So that first section where it goes between the little lump and the low rock, right coming up here, let's see if I can get to it. Yeah, right in here. This is like 55 degrees right in here, which is really steep. So this is something you have to like tune a rig to be able to manage. Like right there, he's past 45 and he's holding it well, but okay, now he's on 2 wheels. Get a little settle. Try to get over the low rock. Look at that rear. That rear tire is up there. So this is one of those things. This particular episode brought to us by the genius of the wheels. This is a skill builder exercise right here. Get a rig that doesn't side hill well. Get a side hill portion that you can just repeat. And if I do this long enough, I will find a way through it. And like I say, a lot of crawling to me, it's gonna cut right here. A lot of crawling to me is counterintuitive, because back from the go fast world, some of the stuff you do in a crawler isn't immediately, like your brain doesn't think, oh, do this, you know, like dig. At no point while driving something fast do you ever think, you know what I should do right now? Lock the rear wheels up. That's just not a thought. So I'm still learning how to do dig. I'm still learning how to side hill, obviously. But I mean, look at that. He's got his weight And that's the thing. Another piece of advice. Should you ever be motivated to purchase yourself a TRX4 Defender or just go out and drive one, they are great. They really are. But I will say this. Never drive one with the body off. Because when you take that 2 pounds off the top, this thing is like a spider. It will stick to anything. And then it makes you not want to put the body on. And you buy a Defender because it looks like what you're looking at right there. It's a Defender. It looks so cool. All right, I'm coming around on the castle. I would still genuinely prefer like an 1800 Fusion in here. But this isn't bad. We can come over here into this section and try it before we drive out. Look at that, just killing the door panel there. He's got the forward drive. Side hilling, not his forte, as one would expect it to not be. But I enjoy the irony of him having, look at that roll. Why does that not stop? Oh, it stopped. I enjoy the irony of him having, like, he's essentially stock with some added portal weights and then like over $300 worth of just speed control servo and motor. And it's still like, money does not buy you happiness, because this might be more expensive options, but they are not my choices. And we learn and we grow, and we don't know. Like, I bought the Castle systems back when they were cheaper, usually in that like 179 range, and they feel absolutely fine until you drive something else. All I can think is that system needs to go in a rig that weighs like 5 pounds, 5 to 6 pounds. And now that I've come to that revelation here towards the end of this video, I might have to do that in the future. Put this setup in something, well, we're not getting out of that, in something lighter. The other option is, of course, find some sort of a reasonably economical censored 550 and put it in here, because I would love to be able to leave the copperhead in here. I just have one more servo to change. I'm using a Tiangong for the 2-speed, and from taking parts out of other rigs, I've got a couple 2065s, Traxxas 2065s that aren't being used. Why would you want to change that when this functions perfectly? Because the cable on the Tiangong is a little too short, so it's just kind of draped across the center of the chassis, and I can't seal up the gearbox. The receiver box. So if I put a 2065 back in, I can assemble the receiver box correctly, and then this guy can go back to his day-to-day of just mashing around in all conditions. He's an excellent all conditions guy. But his 2-speed servo is not waterproof, and his 2-speed servo has rendered his receiver box not waterproof. So, he's got some work to do. They're so fun. If I was blowing money on a kid that wanted to drive a rock crawler, I think I would go straight to a Defender. I mean, they're expensive now, but the thing is, this is what an RTR should look like. This is what an RTR should end up as. You don't even need the Ripsaws. Cut canyon trails are pretty great. Put some hair buns in them for full all-weather action, and just go drive this thing through a creek, and then just replace and upgrade as necessary. Like I said, we didn't replace any of the electronics just on a whim. He's on his 3rd servo. He had a vintage associated XP Digital, I think it was a 1015, 1510, 1015, one of those. And a visitor was driving it, wanged it into a rock at 2-speed speed, and I thought, oh well, it just stripped out the servo horn, took it apart. Nope, some of the gears in that old girl gave way. So moved on to that one. And the 2075X, the normal steering servo, it just started acting like, where it would be like it got something in its digital brain that got it all confused. So we just replace stuff as necessary. I think that MKS, because it definitely falls into the noisy boy category, I think it's going to stay in here. I don't mind the sound of it in here because, as I said just a few minutes ago, TRX4s are loud. But in terms of hard parts and components, damn near indestructible. Really are. You can roll them all day long. Good old Ironsides. What a goer. What a gamer. It's got the right amount of flex. This is the thing. He did get picked an obstacle that is definitely outside of his wheelhouse because he's a lot better at other stuff. Like look at the rough ground handling. He is a goer. He is just not a side hiller. Like he's not out of shape until the shape is gone and he's rolling out, but he lands on his wheels like 90% of the time. And when he doesn't, you can just cyclone him out, and then, you know, with the lowest gearing you can put in there. What a great Wheelin' Wednesday, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining me. In an overshare here in the closing, my mouth still tastes like vomit. Like I can't make it go away. I haven't eaten a single thing in 28 hours. Not even hungry. This is a weird thing for me. You know what I like? Food. You know what I like doing? Eating food. I also like driving RC cars. Thank you, Wheels, for bringing this to us. Thank you all for joining in for this episode. I love that. That might be my favorite thing about Defenders. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please do comment below, like if you like, subscribe if you haven't. Do consider a channel membership. Like I say, here's a buried lead. That's not mine. My buddy's son bought that, left it here, went off to college to become like a youth pastor, something like that, and it lives here. And now so much of it has been replaced. Much like the Colonel, I think it belongs to the Canyon now. Like, where's he gonna drive it? He goes to college in like Orange County. Anyway, what a beautiful day, it really is. If I didn't feel like vomiting all the time right now, if my mouth didn't taste like the inside of my stomach, it might be the perfect day. So I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a better one than me. If you are a fellow diverticulitis sufferer, hey man, lament with me in the comments. How bad is it, right? Oh, it's so bad. But I wouldn't trade it for something like eczema where I itch all the time, you know? I'll take this. And I got the tinnitus on top of that, and then arthritis. So those are my three ices. I've got diverticulitis, arthritis, and tinnitus. They call that getting old, baby. It's a good time. It's a good time. I wish I had something more in the ways of a parting thought. Whee! Yeah, you gotta hit the 2-speed to cyclone them out. 2-speed is required. I'm having a good time. Hope you're having a good time. We'll see you in the next one. We hope that in betwixt now and when we meet again, you all, one and all, do your very best. Have a good one, and we will see you then. No threats, just like a promise. Hello.